Chapter 9. Liar, Liar. Over the years, I watched my stepfather deceive and cheat on my mom. It was crazy. I never understood how a person could lie the way he did and expect people to believe the untruth that was so plainly false. It was amazing. For a time, he would cheat every Monday. Cagney and Lacey would come on TV and he would not come home. The worst part was that the lie he told at the time never changed. He always had a flat tire and could not make it home. He would use this lie for months at a time. Eventually, my mom would get upset and say something. My stepfather would bring her flowers, apologize, and he would be home for about 2 weeks acting on his best behavior. And then, when he had gotten bored or tired, he would be off again cheating. Albeit, he would change the day he'd stayed out all night on. Instead of Monday, he would run out and cheat on another day, say Saturday. I remember one Sunday my stepfather came to church putting his clothes on. He had stayed out all night Saturday cheating and came to church the morning after. He walked into the church scrambling to put on his suit jacket. His shirt was hanging out of his pants. He tucked his shirt in as he walked down the aisle. Amazing. All of his shenanigans were comical and sad, but nothing could prepare me for what happened next. Chapter 10. Mom diagnosed with cancer. When I was 15 years old, the doctors diagnosed my mom with cancer. My mom and I were close. At this age, she began to confide things to me. She asked me if I wanted to know why she and my dad were not together. Out of curiosity, I said yes. She told me that she would tell me if I promised not to hold what she said about him against him. I said I would not hold it against him. She began to tell me they had gotten a divorce because my dad held a shotgun to her head while she was pregnant with me. My dad told her that he was going to kill her. She also shared with me information about my older sister's dad and why they had divorced. She told me how she had come home from work one night and found him in bed with another woman. Back then, there used to be chains on the inside of the doors. She said that the chain was on the door, but that she could see through to the bedroom. My mom saw him dressing and handing the woman her clothes as he shoved her out of the window. At that time, my mom stayed in an apartment. That apartment had stairs that led to the ground level, so this woman left out the window to go down the stairwell and safely to the ground. All these experiences that my mom shared with me formed thoughts in my mind concerning men. I said nothing to my mom, but I was angry. Maybe my promise of not holding anything against my dad or the men that hurt my mom was thinner than I had thought. One day I went to use the restroom in my house, but forgot to lock the door. My stepfather walked in on me. Instead of closing the door and apologizing, he decided he would have a full-blown conversation with me while the door was open. I became more afraid of him, despite my stepfather never touching me inappropriately. However, because of my experiences and age, how I viewed him shaped my thoughts and actions toward him. I remember when my mom's cancer began to worsen. I came home from school and found her on the floor. I asked her how long she had been there. My mom told me she had been on the floor since 9 o'clock that morning. She had fallen while trying to take herself to the bathroom. She had been on the floor ever since. I got home at 2:30 that afternoon. This angered me. Here my mom was needing help, but my stepfather refused to let anyone help her. I let the emotions build up and spill over. I went to the bathroom, looked in the mirror, and just kicked back. I put my foot straight through the wall. Later, when my stepfather asked me how the hole got there, I lied. I said it got there because I had fallen backward and my elbow went through the wall. My stepfather said it looks like a foot to me. I said, nope, it's an elbow. He stared at me as if he knew I was lying. However, I kept my poker face on. After all, I had learned it from him. Eventually, my mom ended up in a wheelchair. I remember watching my stepfather bump her into walls. He did not allow my mom's sisters to help. He did not want to hire any nurses. All during this time, he continued with his infidelity and was an active member at our church. This formed a strong opinion in my mind that church people were nothing but hypocrites. My mom was the only one different. She was a strong woman. She made sure I did everything I was supposed to do, like choir practices, organ lessons, school rehearsals, and the like, even though she was not feeling well. She dealt with her cancer diagnosis while attending classes in the doctorate program at Wayne State University. She was the first Black woman admitted into the doctorate program. She completed that program. My mom is amazing. I say that because she lives on in heaven. When I was 16 years old, I lost my mom to breast cancer. I was in the 11th grade. I was still in church at the time. When you are a child, you go where your parents go. I went to the church in Ypsilanti until my stepfather stopped taking me, which was about 3 months after my mom had passed. I remember being so angry with God. I knew at an early age that God hears me and he listens to prayers. I had prayed and asked him to heal my mom or take her out of her misery. Well, when she passed away, I was mad at God for taking her away from me. When I had prayed that God would take her out of her misery, I had not wanted him to take her away from me. I did not want to talk to God anymore. I was full of so much bottled up anger and rage. It was bottled up so tight that I screamed and stomped my feet. After I released a little of the aggression, I put the top back on the bottle of pain, looked up to heaven and flipped God off. I knew better than to say anything out of the way or crazy to him. Funny how I still had enough respect for him not to curse him with my mouth, but I did not have enough respect for him to fall on my knees, tell him about all that plagued me, give him all my cares and concerns, or even receive his love. At this point, I really believed that I should never open my mouth to pray. If I could have what I said when I prayed, then I could potentially ruin the very life I wanted to keep. I also believed there was no one in the entire world who could love me. The only one who did love me, God took away from me. I wiped the tears from my face, sniffed up the snot, and walked away. I continued in my life as if nothing had happened.
Get your copy of Forgiven, a true story on Amazon.com or visit us at forgiveninc.com and click on the tab that says Books by Anna E. White.